Welcome to the More Life Podcast, where creatives, problem solvers, and entrepreneurs talk about squeezing more out and finding meaning in this crazy thing we call life. Let's dive in. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the More Life Podcast. My name is Bart, if you're new around here. Today we're with a very special guest and friend of mine, Dustin Stout, award-winning blogger, entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur, founder of Magai, and all the rest that I'm probably missing as well. Dustin, say what's up to the people, man.
What's up to the people, man?
Dustin and I, at this point, we go back a little bit, at least. I don't know about way back, but we go back a little bit, where we were part of a roundtable group with other fellow podcast guest, Dave Shrine of the Blocks Agency. And we were there at a roundtable kind of learning from each other, and Dave was kind of like our therapist and kind of helping us do business and, you know...
That's a good way to put it.
Dave naturally does. Yeah. He's a business therapist. He's our business coach. But we were very much, trying to learn and figure out a lot of our business and ourselves and how we were going to be leaders in our spaces, respectively. And I'm super excited, to see some of the progress that you've made. Like I can let you explain a lot of this, but, you when I first met you, you had just about launched a different product than what you have now. Mm-hmm. So first of all, maybe tell us a little bit about your entrepreneurial spirit and background, and we'll get to the products and the services and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, I'll try to be brief. Feel free to cut me off because I can be rather long-winded. I'm a storyteller by nature. But, I graduated high school and moved out to California with all the aspirations of becoming a world-famous actor in the world of film. And found out... I
didn't even know that.
Yeah, fun story. Went to acting school, prestigious acting college down in Hollywood called the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. Did 2 years there and hit the ground running with trying to launch an acting career. Found out very quickly that in the world of acting in Hollywood, celebrities act and actors wait tables. And I did not like waiting tables. So I found some other interests, actually became a youth director at my local church. And from there, what's that?
It's a big 180.
Yeah. Well, it allowed me a little bit of freedom where I could still kind of go out for acting gigs and do my job at the church. They were paying me peanuts because it was a small satellite campus, and so I had to find other little odd jobs to pay the bills. Long story short, I started blogging because Michael Hyatt told me to, and got into social media. Started blogging about social media because I was just fascinated by the whole concept of it. Taught myself web design because I was a graphic designer. I had a self-taught graphic designer background, and I was doing that for the church. And so when I built my own blog, it had to look good. And before long, people were contacting me saying, "Hey, you seem to know a lot about the social media stuff. Could you help me with my business? And help us to get on social media?" And I'd be like, "Sure." And they'd be like, "How much should we pay you?" And I was like, "Well, that's a cool idea. I guess I could take money for that." People also seemed to like my blog's design and asked me to design their blogs, which turned into designing their business websites. And so before long, I was freelancing. Right around that time, I lost my position at the church. Well, I didn't lose my position. I lost my salary. They very much wanted me to stay in my position, but they could not afford to pay me. Thankfully, God had provided some skills, and I was able to just work for myself and start a side hustle, building websites and consulting people in social media. Around 2014 is where I got together with some friends. We had an idea for a WordPress plugin, and I, with their help, created my first digital product. And once I got a taste of creating a digital product that doesn't require manual labor in the digital sense, I was hooked. I was like, this is the way.
You found gold. Like you just like, oh, I understand. Right. I invented the wheel.
Yes. Building websites is cool. It's a lot of fun. I love working with clients, but having a product that you don't have to be around to make it work, and it's built once and you just got to kind of maintain it. That is much more scalable for me
Yep.
personally. So, um, long story short, that product was fairly successful. I exited that company in 2020 and started looking for my next big digital product, which led me to my last two products, So Visual and Social Remix, both of which were financially a massive failure.
Okay.
It was a number of product failures along the way. We just couldn't find product market fit, and
Okay.
the product just wasn't resonating with people. And
Yeah.
it's a sad story, but also a valuable lesson. I learned a lot in that time, and that led me to Magi and building Magi. And it's like that old country song goes, "God bless the broken road, led
Oh
me
yeah.
straight to you."
God. Wow, I feel like I'm at a wedding right now. Um, a wedding from like 2008 that I was invited to from somebody I met at youth group, and I'm just here, just to support. So you are living proof by all of these entrepreneurial mentors and thought leaders that say that you need to, kind of go down that broken path and kind of experience failure to kind of realize the dreams and the visions that you have for the next thing. And I don't know if if you would agree, but would you have reached Magi, and at least the initial success that you're seeing right now? I'm sure a lot of your decision making processes are also in some way they're reflective of the mistakes you've made
Oh,
and who you partner
100%.
with and how you make decisions about investing and where
Yes.
should you focus the first initial earnings and all that kind of stuff. So there's so much to learn there, I'm sure, as you can probably talk about for days. But
Yeah.
maybe tell us a little bit of what Magi is.
Well, Magi is really just the culmination of, I think, where AI has been going over the last few years. So I've been using AI generative tools, text generators, things like Copy AI or Jasper or Ink SEO. A lot of these
Yep.
AI text generator apps I've been using for years. And
Yeah.
while I loved them, they were really helpful. One of the things I found was it was really difficult to use in the sense that, like, in order to use it, you had to sort of sift through their modality of using it, which was in many cases find a template that kind of resembles what you want, use their template and go through their steps, and
Mm,
then come up with what you need, whether that's a blog post or ad copy or social copy, whatever that is. And for the most part, they worked pretty well. So as these tools were becoming easier to access, and OpenAI started opening up their API to other companies, I was doing my best to try and salvage what was left of So Visual. And I thought, well, maybe if I built some generative AI tools to help people come up with ideas inside of So Visual, it'll be a more attractive product and attract some more users. So I basically learned how to work with the OpenAI API and build it into So Visual. Once I did that, I realized, well, this is not that difficult to do. Now that I understand how to do it,
mm,
maybe I should just try and come up with a way to develop a standalone app that can be a little more specific to people's needs. It was right around that time that I started building this app that ChatGPT came around.
yeah.
And when ChatGPT hit the scene, I remember using it for the first time and going, this is it. This is the paradigm shift that needed to happen for AI to be accessible to everyone.
Hmm.
And the big obstacle of having to go through these hundreds of templates and use it in a way that somebody else thought you should use it is gone. Those barriers are gone. And just being able to simply interface with a artificially intelligent chatbot,
Yeah.
this was the way that was going to allow so much potential to be realized by more people than ever. And we've seen
So
that
you saw it
happen.
right away.
Right, over 100 million users in record breaking time. So as I'm building this traditional generative AI text app, I thought, nope, I'm going to throw all this away. And I
Wow.
love ChatGPT, but it's missing a bunch of things that I need it to have in order to work it into my own workflow. Things like folders and organization
Yes.
features and search and filter, basic things that people who work with copy and text a lot need. So it's like, I know how to build these, and I can leverage the OpenAI API, build a beautiful interface for people, and allow them to organize their content and create power tools for people who really want to take ChatGPT to the next level.
That's like unbelievable. Just to I feel like the average consumer is so it's like 3 or 6 months behind what's
Yeah.
actually happening in the marketplace, right? So
Hmm.
you're in the space already of automated text on the internet, and you are presented with something that is like, oh, this can actually revolutionize the way we actually use these tools instead of
Hmm.
just these templated style tool things like what you mentioned, the Jasper and all the other ones that everyone has used before. I was a paying subscriber of those things, and then you end up stopping because it's the interface becomes too hard to get what I actually want, or it feels too templated. But I've also used ChatGPT, and I'm just like, oh, this is very, very good, and I can
Hmm.
tweak it and tweak it and tweak it,
Yes.
and it's very much very useful. And people are, much smarter than me, like yourself, who are picking up ways on how we could use this thing in real life applications. And I think that's the
Yes.
coolest thing that I've seen, and that is, it's the adoption of it is so fast
Yeah.
compared to other things.
Hmm.
And I think it's first of all just the age that we live in now. It's no longer 2016; it's now 2023, and we're also living in an age where everyone can also see the potential benefit of this, whether you're a
Hmm.
student, whether you're a data analyst, whether you're a copywriter or a marketer. It doesn't matter. Like, we use it all the time for our headlines for our blogs and for
Hmm.
our outlines for our YouTube videos, just to see if we can compare and contrast and get some new stuff out of it. But like you mentioned, the functionalities, features, benefits of Magi, and of course, it looks great. It's much nicer to use than ChatGPT. ChatGPT is ugly. Um, it allows you to pull in information and use it as a actual word processing tool that can help you
Hmm.
deliver documents.
Yeah.
And you're doing something that's really, really cool. And I love the story because it reminds me of what was it? The iPod. They had the iPod like 4 years before the iPod, and then
Hmm.
nobody had ever made a 3.5-inch hard drive before, and then Toshiba did in like 1999. And at some expo, one of the Apple employees, executives, was there. Like, that's what we've been waiting for. It's the
Yeah.
small little hard drive that will fit inside the
Hmm.
thing, that didn't need a lot of power, all that kind of stuff. And that's how we got the iPod. The person had the idea before the technology even exists for it. And once he saw the technology, like, oh, that's the missing piece that we need for this thing. Because who wants to have an iPod in their pocket that can have 10,000 songs, or that can only have 500 songs, and it only lasts an hour and a half, right? It's a much better selling feature to have 10,000 songs and it lasts
Yeah.
5 days. So,
Yeah.
you having the right technology matched with the right idea, it's kind of like lightning in a bottle.
Hmm.
And so let's talk about rollout. Let's talk about launch, because it feels like you had like an instantaneous aha moment where, like, I need to stop the investment of the soul visual stuff right now and focus on this stuff, which can be hard because even in a failing business there's still probably sometimes some upsides to having it and keeping it around and maintaining it.
Well, yeah, thankfully, So Visual and Social Remix were such a massive failure. There wasn't a whole lot holding me back.
Oh man, that's great.
And the other beautiful thing is they're working and active, and so the people who are using them, it's not going to like break or need updated or anything. They're pretty solid and stable, so they're in a state of I don't really need to be around unless somebody needs support. And thankfully, up to this point, almost nobody has needed support.
Okay.
They've been using it without issue. So yeah, I had the freedom, and I also really had the urgency because I've got a family of three, a wife, and kids
Oh,
to support, and thanks to having to offshore the development for these last two products, I was completely broke. We ran through all of our life savings. I spent over $65,000 on just getting the things made
Yeah.
and have yet to see even a fraction of a percentage back. So I had the urgency to make something right away that was useful and that was going to actually be profitable. And praise the Lord, I was able to do it without having to spend any money.
Really? So
Yes,
did you develop it yourself? Are you a coder?
100%. 100%
Wow.
self-made, no developers, no team, no assistants. I figured out how to do the text generating on my own for So
Yep.
Visual, and so I had those skills already, and I was like, I'm just
Gotcha.
gonna grind this out and turn it into a fully functioning app. I was able to do that in
And is
about 8 weeks.
really, what platform is it built on?
It's built on Bubble, which is a
Okay.
no-code platform.
Yeah.
So
And
thankfully, it made it much easier and faster to deploy.
right. Is it web only or is it mobile as well?
It is a web app, but works
Mhm.
perfectly fine on mobile. You can access it
Yeah.
on Safari mobile or Chrome mobile, and it works beautifully.
Awesome. So okay, rolling out. You have this idea. You got what? Like you give yourself a time frame. Say I got to build this thing out. Right, urgency, getting to the market. People are interested in this thing. There's a lot of press around it. You want to be the one who explains what's missing with ChatGPT, and you want to show them,
Mhm.
look what I've created that will complement all of the functionality of ChatGPT. But now, guess what? ChatGPT plus features, and now you can have all these other features that you definitely want to use if you want to be a serious ChatGPTer. So when you have AI inside of the platform, are you using like the free version or the? I know there's different like ChatGPT Plus and 4 and all these different things. So do I need to sign up for both, like for ChatGPT account plus a Magi account?
Yeah, no, that's the magic. So I basically got access to the API for ChatGPT and
Hmm.
GPT-4. So there's two different models. If you're just a regular ChatGPT user, you go to chat.openai.com. You're going to get access to the uh, GPT 3.5 Turbo model, which is the older model. It's the one that they launched with. It's still pretty good.
Yep.
But if you want the most advanced version of their AI, which is GPT-4, then you have to pay for ChatGPT Plus, which is $20 a month. Well, because I have API access, Magi is built through interfacing with their API. So you're getting the same exact ChatGPT, but with the most advanced version, GPT-4, and without
Wow.
having to pay OpenAI. So you just pay Magi, you get an allotment of words every month for your whatever plan you choose, and you're getting to use all the benefits of the most advanced ChatGPT, but with actual features that make it more useful and more powerful.
That's really really cool. And you've gone through um, launching digital products, right? Like SaaS type products.
Yeah.
So rollout was not necessarily foreign to you. But for those who are untrained, what does that look like when you are rolling out a digital product? Do you start first with a newsletter? Do you start first with building a landing page? How do you market this to people who don't know that they need this?
So I think ultimately the best marketing strategy is to always have been building your personal brand. Thankfully, I've been an entrepreneur now for close to 14 years, and I have been active on social media. I've been building a personal brand. My blog has received recognition time and time again over the years. I've spoken at large conferences, so I've
Mm-hmm.
been cultivating a personal brand for years. And so, really, the best marketing tactic you can do is just always be growing your personal brand.
That's a great.
um, so thankfully, at this point, I haven't done a big quote launch.
Yep.
All I've really been doing is building this in public and just
Yep.
being through my transparent sharing of what I'm building, why I'm building it, struggles I'm having, successes I'm having. Just sharing it on Twitter and Facebook is really
Hmm.
it.
Well, this is a
I've
great thing that people do now, and I've
Yeah.
seen a few other people do. Even as controversial as he's been, one Mr. Kanye West, he did that with his last album where he
Yep.
released it in stages, and
Mhm.
he performed it in stages
Mhm.
before the album was out, and then went back and was using it as a data source to find out where there were lulls in the performances, in the crowd responses, and how it sounded on jumbo speakers. And he's going back and tweaking it, and you're seeing this that it's almost like it's stolen from, like, he took it from the tech world, where
Mhm.
there'd be open betas and stuff like that, where
Yep.
people can go and try out and test and see exactly what's happening. And meanwhile, for the access, you're also agreeing to be able to, like, submit some information to be like, listen,
Mhm.
we also want to make this amazing out of the gate, so you're helping us, and we're happy that you get to use the tool first.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I leveraged my personal brand. I shared openly and transparency as I built it. And then when it was ready, I started to let in a handful of trusted beta testers who would give
Nice.
feedback in order to get free access.
Yep.
And just kept doing that. And like I said, at this point, I haven't quote unquote launched it as far as like a full blown marketing campaign with,
Got it.
a go to market strategy. I've really just been letting the product talk for itself and my build in public um, work speak for itself. And it's been really great to see my community, my friends, family, colleagues all just share my journey with their
Hmm.
audiences as well. And that's, I think, the number one testament to whether or not you have a good product on your hands are the people who know, care, and love you. Are they willing to share the journey with you that you're sharing with their audiences? With Silvers and Social Remix, didn't quite have that. Ignored that sign for
Hmm.
a long time. But as I started sharing Magi, there was a undeniable excitement about the product and what it could do. And as soon as I let people get their hands on it, it took on a life of its own.
Was your MVP basically the finished product, like in terms of what feature sets and having it ready to show some people? Was that your minimum, was a viable product? Was that something that was like, okay, I need to at least have these things, but by the time you did it, it was like, okay, I basically got all the things that I was looking for.
Yeah, yeah. So it's hard as a product guy. Like you want to always make more features. I'm never short of ideas, and especially when you start letting users in, users will have ideas that you would have never thought of. And
Yes.
so it was very difficult to try and decide, okay, what is the MVP and where do I cut it off and say, okay,
Yeah.
now it's ready. I had to make some very ruthless decisions. I'll say that.
Well, that
And
means there's also, like, room for updates and for where this
yeah,
can go. Yeah.
yeah, it's really just prioritization. Since it's just me, I don't have a team, I don't have a bunch of
That's
venture
still crazy to
capital.
me that you
Yeah.
just did this in like 10 weeks, like
Look, if
boom,
you
boom,
would have
boom.
told me this time last year that I would have built a fully functioning app all by myself, I would have told you you're on crazy pills
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
I just couldn't have done that a year ago.
So does this feel different than, like, the other products you've launched? Like, or at this stage, you've been not launched, but alive in this product phase for, let's, what, a month?
Yeah, we just passed 30 days. I soft released it on
Yeah.
March, I think it was March like 30th, like the last day of March,
Okay.
because I didn't want to do it on April 1st because everybody would think it's a
Yeah.
joke.
Oh, that's a
So
joke.
soft launched and allowed public signups on, right before April 1st. And
Okay.
that's how long it's been going. So basically a month.
A month into your other ventures, did it feel like this?
No, a month into my other ventures, I had done big launches for.
Yep.
I did all kinds of promotional type stuff, and was get at this point had was just scratching my head, going, "Where are all the people? Why aren't they showing up? Why
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
these marketing pages are beautiful. The incentives are
I've seen
there.
some of
I've got
them. Yep.
discounts. I've got NFTs. I've got gold coins that I'm giving away, like all these cool things. And none of it worked. Just
And
people
you
just
were
didn't get it.
relentless. I remember, especially on So Visual, I remember one time from one week to the next week, you changed the entire look of the homepage or the landing page before you launch. And then I'm like, this man is relentless
Yeah,
trying to calculate the best way to incentivize people to see the value in this.
yeah,
It was not for lack of trying.
yeah. That's one thing I can say. Like, as big a failure as it was, I did try my absolute best. I left it
Yeah.
all on the court.
Yeah. Do you anticipate, or have you seen rather, um, inklings or evidence of growth where you're like, okay, this feels different than obviously the other ones. I actually think this one can have legs and grow into something where it can be self-sustaining, and make us a profit, make me, enough money that it's actually worth my time to continue working on it, type of thing. Or is this like, okay, this is great, proof of concept, I just I'm trying to figure out what you're feeling on the inside. I know you're excited, and I'm excited with you because I see the posts, and that open vulnerability that you have in sharing some of your successes or milestones and getting this product out. So I'm like, okay, how are you feeling in all of this? Because I know it's a tough journey doing anything by yourself,
Mhm.
or at least when you're the person who is holding that vision, and you're trying to convince people to see the vision and to see the value in your vision. It's pretty wild to kind of go through that.
It is absolutely, and this product is different than any other in that I I intentionally have not gone through a hype filled or I haven't gone through that launch process, like I said, and I haven't tried to market it because I really wanted to test and see, is this the kind of product that has legs on its own without marketing getting in the way or attributing to,
Mm,
I wanted it to be undeniable that it's not the marketing of the product that is attracting people, but it is actually the product and the value that the product brings itself that is attracting the people. And the reason why I created it is because I see the big paradigm shift that's
yeah.
happening in our culture, and where I mean the whole world is changing because of this technology.
Oh
And,
yes.
I mean, like you can't stop it. It's already the ball's already rolling. It's a boulder coming down the hill. Either jump on or get out of the way. I have jumped on fully, and I think Magi, the at least the foreseeable future of this technology and where it's going and the roadmap that I have, this is not just a sustainable project at this point that I can foresee turning into something big. This is something that I can see turning into the biggest thing I've ever created. Without I don't want to
I'm
use
so
too many
excited.
hypey
I'm
words,
getting goosebumps
but
as if I invented Magi, and I didn't.
yeah,
You did. I'm like, man,
yeah.
this
I
because
mean,
I
I've
can see
never
the
had
potential of it as well.
I've had I've built products before where it's attracted interest and it's attracted users and it's maybe attracted some potential partners or even some potential investors. But the amount of interest and requests that I've gotten
Mm,
for um, enterprise level customers and with some big name organizations that I can't necessarily name right now,
yeah.
the requests I've had for investments so far in the first 30 days are nothing like I've ever seen before. So I definitely know we've got we're definitely onto something. I think with this product.
Yeah, when the investor circle is open, make sure you call me. I'll
Yeah,
leave my number in the in the footer of this podcast. Just give me a ring. Um, there is, you know, marketing is like a whole other world, and you've done so many aspects of it, from like product design and product launch, and actual like marketing assets like building websites and graphic design and stuff like that. Would you say this is the hardest part, is like doing a software product type, like a SaaS, launching
it
something like
is.
this?
It's super
Yeah.
hard. And the reason is because there's a lot of them. And I anticipate, especially in this space, you talk to anybody who's been in software sales for years, they'll tell you it's a hard sell. Like it's not easy to sell software because number one, there's a lot of software out there. There's a lot of options, a lot of competition. And number two, like people are starting to get a little burnt out on all the softwares that are out there, all the subscriptions. So to really break through and find success, you have to have an undeniable amount of value, and
Yes.
you have to have the chutzpah to
Yeah.
uh,
That's
to
good.
to
That's good
really
way of
grind it
phrasing.
out.
What about like ideation? Because I feel to me that's the hardest part in any creative process,
Mhm.
whether you're building a website or an app or a web app or anything like that. How do you know which ideas you really want to pursue? 'Cause I can tell by your personality. I can tell by the first time I met you. You are somebody who is constantly thinking of different things, even when they should be relaxing. Even when they should. I
You
can
know me too
identify
well.
it because yeah, I can identify it because I'm also that person where
Hmm.
I'm at home and I'm also somebody will be doing something on a TV show that is remotely related to marketing or to advertising, and I'm like, huh, interesting. Let me just pull up Google right here while we're supposed to be
Yeah.
like hanging out and watching a TV show together. Let me just quickly just look up this interesting fact that I just learned about.
Yes.
And so ideas are the currency in which you work with,
Mhm.
Dustin. So it's like, how do you know which one is valuable? Like, it's almost like those gold rush guys. How do they know which is like a regular rock and which one's gonna? Oh, if I clean it up a little bit, there's actually gold underneath there.
Yeah. Well, thankfully now I have Magi, and I could just ask Magi which one. Which of
We're
these
like Dr.
ideas sound good?
Frankenstein.
Is this a good idea? I'll just pull out the product manager persona that we have built
Yeah.
in there and just say, "What do you think of this product?"
Do you
You
have
know,
personas?
yes, one of the big features I think that sets Magi apart from just using standard Chat GPT. If you'll allow me to promote it
No, no,
a
no.
little bit more.
I'm
Um,
just upset that I didn't know that there was an open beta testing cohort. I'm like, I need to get on that.
Yeah, no, it's open and available to everybody. Personas, they're not like traditional marketing personas, the way that we might think of them,
Mhm.
where you're putting a target customer avatar together. Inside Magi, personas are pre-made, let's call them AI personalities
Yeah.
that you can activate. And for anyone who's used ChatGPT, you'll probably have heard this methodology of tell the chat what you want it to be. Tell the chat, it's an expert copywriter, and it will, kind of focus the AI in that direction. Now, the challenge with that, with just giving it a prompt to tell it who it is there's in technical terms, there's a system message that is built into every ChatGPT chat. And
Mm.
the chat takes its instruction from that system message, and then whatever you lay on top of that system message is taken into consideration. But ultimately, it's still given that system message level instruction that it pays more attention to if it's GPT-4, the smarter
Right.
model. So essentially, your requests are somewhat diluted in their efficacy because they have this sort of dueling instruction that you're going through. With Magi, through the API, I'm able to craft that system message, and that's what personas are. Personas are essentially a system message that has been handcrafted to come up with a specific result that you're looking for. So you can pick from one of our 40 plus different personas. I'll say expert copywriter for an example. If you're looking for expert marketing copy, you give it this persona, and the output is so much better because you're no longer having to dilute it against the system message. The only system message it knows and is giving weight to is expert copywriter. So, as I was saying, I have
Love
a
it.
product manager persona in there, and if I have product ideas, I can bounce it off him, and it can be incredibly effective. I also have a life coach in there that replaced Dave Shrine. Now that we don't, he gives me advice. I chat with him. Um, But no, ideation for an entrepreneur is, something you constantly have to battle. If I can bring us back off of
Yes,
that rabbit
please.
trail. Um, One of the things that's always worked for me. I'm grateful that God built me this way. I'm an extrovert, like to the max. So I love people. I love talking about people or talking
Mm,
to people. Um, Talking with people energizes me. And I think as an entrepreneur who is plagued with many good ideas, the only way you can really find the best ones is if you're talking to your target audience, you're talking to your customers and bouncing these ideas off of them and getting their feedback. Because, at the end of the day, those are the people you're serving. And if you're only
yeah,
there to serve yourself, good luck. But if
yeah.
you're there to serve the people who are going to be buying your products, they're going to tell you what the right product ideas are.
Some things are as old as time, like
Yeah,
no matter how digital or advanced or technological or AI driven or whatever the terms are, something is the people who purchase are in control of, who manage, who employ, who deploy are humans. And
yeah,
there is this human element where, people lose that touch of like, oh, we need to get customer feedback. We need to understand
mhm.
what people are thinking. I, as Dustin, I need to go out and talk to people who may not have even ever heard of this and practice how I pitch it to them, how I tell them about
Yeah,
what I do, so that it helps me with my sales copy. So it helps me with all these other things. This human aspect of it is something that I feel like people are trying to get away from, but I'm like, it's like
mm,
the central nucleus to everything that we do still. Like, it doesn't matter if
yeah,
it's banking or AI or whatever. There's going to be people involved, so people
yeah,
really do
absolutely.
matter.
Yeah, I mean, some of the best marketing copy I've ever come up with came right out of the mouth of a user. That's ultimately where you want to get to. Like, you want to use the words that your target audience would use in saying nice things about your service or your product. And the only way you
So
get that is by talking to those people.
it's true. You can't just be in your basement drinking Pepsi, coding for 20 hours a day.
Right.
There are some
Magi
moments
might
when you
get you
need to do
close.
that.
You can tell
Yeah, imagine.
Magi You can tell Magi to be your target audience and describe your target audience, and maybe it'll give you some good words, but ultimately, you need that real human connection to feed those
Yeah,
ideas.
I think that's going to be, it's going to be the case, right? Every time, at least until something else crazy happens in the technology world that I haven't even thought of or understood yet. I barely understand how AI. I hear a lot of things because it's everywhere. Every marketer wants to talk about it, about how AI is going to shape the future. But I'm waiting to see how big companies use this, to kind of build frameworks around AI,
Mhm.
and we'll see how that plays out in terms of our day to day lives and all that kind of really cool stuff. I'm just so thankful that I know somebody who's able to capitalize on these things. Sometimes you hear of technology growing and advancing, and it's like, man, I was around when YouTube started. How come I'm not a YouTuber with a zillion followers? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I
Right.
don't know anybody who has like 10 million subscribers. Like, not one. Like, I was born in '86. All we would have all been like, 19 years old when YouTube came out. How come none of us
Right.
took the plunge? But it's great to see, Dustin, that you're growing in this, and this is a really cool experience. And the part that made me so excited that I wanted to have you on the podcast was that open and public, processing that you're doing right now, which I think is extremely valuable. And if it was a YouTube series, I would have watched a long form format where you talking about you building it and all that kind of stuff and the business behind it, because I really do think that there are a lot of people who have ideas. So in terms of ideation, they have ideas. They kind of think it's a good one, but they maybe haven't proven it yet, and they don't know how to prove it.
Mhm.
And they don't know, how do I say this is a really good thing, and then from there they don't know what to do next. And I think you have lots of insight that you're sharing with people, and it's not just the successes. You're sharing a lot of the not failures per se, but of the challenges and obstacles that you're facing mentally and practically as well. So super cool. Thank you so much for being here. I want to tell people where they can find Magi and where they can find you and your blog.
Yeah, just head over to magai.co, Magai. That's where I'm at.
Once you're there, make sure you sign up, and you can ask any of your questions you have for Dustin to the AI and
Ask
pick Dustin's
Magi, yeah.
profile. Ask Magi, and Magi can respond as Dustin, and you'll be fine.
I should program a Dustin persona into there, and
Almost like a secret off the menu type thing
yes.
for those that really want it, or maybe for your partner, for your wife. You'd be like, hey, you know what? You've been asking me to do a bunch of things. I made a personal profile that you could use just for you. You know what? We're gonna end this podcast before any of us get in trouble here. This has been the More Life Podcast. I've been Bart. Thank you so much, Dustin. Peace out.
Thanks, Bart.